With the rear deck all out and ready to go, that was my part for this. Fernando is gonna hop in there and do the roadkill. I need to check and find a location for the amplifier so that we can get started on that. With that rear deck out, we can take a look at what's going in there to replace it. The vocals come with a bag of screws, an instruction manual. This instruction manual covers the whole integration series. If you open it up, there is a sticker inside. It's like a box of cereal. This speaker is an exact copy of the front speaker. Uses the same front speaker, same butyl surround, same cone material, same tweeter. Basket is the exact same with the absorption panels here, same size magnet. It is the same speaker as the front. The only difference is this tweeter is mounted in the center. Unless you absolutely had to have a tweeter mounted 3 inches away in the rear deck, there'd be no reason not to use these for this job. Focal does also give you a gasket. We had these on the fronts, I just didn't show them to you. Take a closer look at the X901.5 high-res audio amplifier. Inside the box, you get some screws, some Allen keys, and the screws for the bass knob. So don't lose the instruction manual. Little area over here has the bass knob and the extension. Now this bass knob is made to be mounted behind something. It's made to come up from the back side. It really doesn't have any other provisions for it. So keep that in mind when you get this, that it needs to be back mounted somehow. The Allen keys it gives you are to take off the top piece here, which is a little beauty panel that's just to cover the screw holes. These screws don't stay in anything. Best practice is to screw them back into the amplifier until you're done and need them again. These Allens are extra long because they have to get deep down inside of the amplifier, because as you can see, they're about halfway down in the middle of the amplifier. It does have 340 amp fuses on it. You have 6 channels of input, front speaker A, rear speaker B, subwoofer located on the very end along with your power ground and remote. On the opposite end is where your sub is going to plug in. First, your input sensitivity, so you have volume control for channel A, B, and sub. Subwoofer bass boost, subwoofer crossover, then your A front high crossover, your rear B crossover. All of them are variable between 50 to 200. You can turn both front and rear crossovers on and off. They can only be high pass. The subwoofer does not have an on and off switch. It is always on. Your bass boost is between 0 and 18 dBs. Your gain control is between 5 volts to 0.2 volts. It does also have a fan. If you are going to put anything over this, make sure you leave room for the fan. It's a pretty solid amplifier for its size. It feels like if you chuck this at somebody, it's definitely going to hurt them. It has good weight to it. I put all my pieces back into the box so I know where they're at if I need them later. I need to get this over to the car and see if we can find some place to put this up and out of the way. Changing plans as far as the subwoofer goes. We're still going to go with the Rockford. We were originally going to do the factory box. I had said P3. It's actually going to be a P2. Factory box is like 15 inches tall, which is ridiculous. It won't even come close to fitting through here. We have about 13.5 inches here, and then even if you come in from the back side, you have that same 13.5 inches. So we found an A-trend box that we carry. It's a little bit deeper, narrower, but it's shorter this way. It's the same amount of airspace, and it fits, which is a bonus. The amplifier, we need to find some place to put that. The original thought was to go somewhere up here, and I think that is actually going to happen. If I make a panel that comes off of this piece here and goes to this piece and comes down roughly, I don't even think, maybe 1/4 inch, possibly a half, I can fit the amplifier above the subwoofer enclosure just like this. And if I make it right, I can get all my controls in from right here and then attach it into this tray, which I'm pretty excited about because that's one thing we thought about and it's actually going to work. A lot of these installs are phone conversations we have where people drive in and come up with ideas like the factory box going in, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, so you need a plan B and sometimes a plan C. Like I said, he wants to keep a lot of this trunk space accessible, and I think this will do it. Plus it'll keep it out of this trunk area here. Mustangs typically like to leak as they get older because of these pieces here. They get caught, as you can see, in this rubber boot, and water starts to come in through here. If you own a Mustang, this is the bane of your existence as far as what happens in the trunk of your car. This is where your leak is coming from. If we go up top here, we're not gonna have that problem. After doing some measurements, figuring out how I'm going to make this panel, I need a panel that is 18.5 inches by 13 inches wide. From that, I'm gonna add a couple bends to give me the drop down that I need to make the panel. Let's head over to the saw. We've cut it to size and then scored where our first two bends have to be. I want to just get these two done and make sure we're on the right path. To heat up and bend the ABS, we use the Power Pro butane torch. It does a spectacular job. Fernando has the sound treatment all in place, looking good. The speakers are mounted. We decided we're not going to use the factory speaker wires for the rear speakers because we're going to be mounting the amplifier right here, so it's kind of silly to run the wires all the way forward just to have them run all the way back. Just screwed in, and then when I wire up the amp, I'm going to leave ends off so that we can attach them to the speakers. He's got to come back and zip tie those up into place, but now that that's done, I have to put this all back together, but I'm going to wait until I get my amplifier mounted. With all the measurement on the amp rack done, getting those angles just right, came up with this shape here. This is going to be the front of the car. This is going to be the back of the car. I notched it so I can get to the gain controls and also leave room for the fan. As you can see, it kind of looks like the drawing. These are a little bit longer than in the drawing, obviously, because the drawing isn't always to scale. I want to get the amplifier mounted in place so that I can put it up into the deck and just do one last test fitting. With ABS, always pre-drill your holes. For this, I used a 3/32. Used 1/2-inch screws. That means there's a little nipple coming out of the end. Sand that flush. I'm only gonna put these 2 screws in for now. Let's get it in the car and see how it fits. That fits perfect. The amplifier isn't touching the box. There's about a 1/4 inch between the bottom of the amp and the box, which is just what I wanted. It's also not touching this metal, about a 1/4 inch away from that. I have to drill holes for rivets to go in place so that I can then screw this up. I'm gonna take the amplifier off to do that. I don't have a big heavy thing above my face as I'm drilling the holes. So for this, we drilled and put in some M5 nutserts. There's gonna be 2 in the back here, and then 4 across the front here. There we go, mounted into place. What I need to do now is put the box back in and make sure that it still fits in. Oh yeah, like a glove. Next step, pull this all back out, get this over to the bench, screw the amplifier down, do all my wiring. To get the wiring to go across, what I'm thinking is we have some zip ties that are like the Christmas tree zip ties. They have the panel clips built into them. I'm thinking I'll use those to go across and down so that I can run my wire forward. That's at least the thought right now. We'll see how it goes, because I need the power side to go up the driver's side and the RCAs and speaker wire to go up the passenger side. The battery is on the driver's side over here, so that will be the easier way to go. Let's head over to the bench.